Trump Media and Technology Group, or TMTG, it's one of the most fascinating puzzles out there on the market right now. You've got this massive valuation, but then you look at the performance metrics and they tell a completely different story. So in this HDIN Research analysis, we're going to tear down the company's 2025 financials. We're going to see what the numbers really tell us about the business and where it's headed.
Okay, everything really kicks off with this number, $2.47 billion. That's the amount of liquid assets, we're talking cash, digital assets, the whole lot, that TMTG had on its books at the end of 2025. I mean, no matter how you slice it, that is a massive war chest.
So naturally, when you see a number like that, it brings up the single most critical question for any analyst, right? What kind of actual business is all this cash supporting? The valuation is huge for sure, but what about the fundamentals? Well, to figure that out, we've got to start by looking at the company's official strategy. So first up, let's take a look at how TMTG actually presents itself. Officially, this isn't just some social media app. They've structured it as a much bigger thing, a diversified media and tech holding company. And it's all built on this three-pillar strategy. So this whole strategy is built on three main pillars. First up, you've got Truth Social. That's the core social media platform, right? It's the engine driving traffic, and it's monetized through advertising. Then, pillar number 2 is Truth Plus. This is their video streaming service, complete with its own content delivery network. They're focusing on family-friendly content and have a subscription called the Patriot Package. And finally, there's Truth Fi. This is their brand new fintech arm, offering America-first investment tools, including 5 ETFs that have already launched on the NYSE, plus a digital asset strategy. So yeah, on paper, this looks like a really clear push to become a big, broad media and tech company. But look, this really ambitious strategy, that's only half the story. The really interesting part is when you put that strategy right next to the hard numbers from their own 10K filing. That's when the central paradox of TMTG, it becomes crystal clear. So just take a look at this table straight from their filing. You can see the revenue, it was almost perfectly flat compared to the year before, landing at just under $3.7 million. But then, look at the losses. Oh boy. The operating loss didn't just grow, it more than tripled to $573 million. And the net loss? It nearly doubled, hitting a staggering $712 million for the 2025 fiscal year.
And this, right here, perfectly sums up the whole financial puzzle. It really is a tale of two numbers. On one hand, you have $3.68 million in revenue. On the other, a $712 million net loss. I mean, think about that. For every single dollar of revenue the company made in 2025, it lost almost $200. And the filings tell us why. A big chunk of it comes from what's called non-cash digital asset impairments, which is basically a fancy way of saying the value of their crypto holdings went down on paper. Plus, you've got these huge operating expenses that are just way, way bigger than the revenue they're bringing in.
So all of this leads to a huge problem for analysts. We call it the KPI black box. And this isn't just our term. Look at this quote from their own filing. The company says flat out that it does not currently and may never track key metrics like monthly or daily active users. Can you believe that? This makes all the usual valuation models, the ones built on user growth and engagement, it makes them pretty much useless here. This total lack of operational data, you combine that with the really stark financial numbers we just saw, and it forces us to kind of step back and reevaluate what this company actually is. I mean, if the market isn't valuing it like a typical social media business, then what in the world is it? And when we really dig into their balance sheet, the truth becomes pretty clear. TMTG's financial structure, it's just not that of a typical social media company. The market isn't looking at the social media operations, it's not looking at the revenue, it's valuing something else entirely.
So what is it? Well, it's acting a lot more like what we'd call a digital asset treasury. Just think of it like a holding company for capital. Its value right now is tied directly to that massive $2.47 billion balance sheet. It's also tied to something we call brand option value, which is just the potential for future deals and opportunities that could spring from the brand itself. It's not tied to making a profit from selling ads or subscriptions.
So let's get to the verdict from HDIN Research. What does this all mean for an investor? We see it as a high-risk, high-reward asset. All right, if you're an investor, you absolutely have to weigh some critical risks here. And these are things the company openly talks about. First, there's the key person dependence. The business is completely tied to the brand and popularity of Donald J. Trump. Second, they flat out say they expect to keep losing significant amounts of money for the foreseeable future. Third, the stock price has been on a wild ride with extreme swings that have nothing to do with business fundamentals. Then you've got that KPI black box we talked about. No user metrics makes analysis incredibly difficult. And finally, there's a high dependency on third-party partners like Rumble for really core functions, like ad delivery and infrastructure. So here's our final takeaway. TMTG really defies any traditional category. You just can't analyze it like a normal growth stage tech company that's valued on its fundamentals. So what is it? It's a high-liquidity political premium tool. Its value comes from its massive cash reserves, what the market sentiment is at any given moment, and that unique political premium that's attached to its brand.
So what you've just seen is a high-level look at TMTG's public filings. But if you want the full story, our complete financial modeling, a deep dive into their digital asset strategy, and a really detailed risk assessment, we invite you to download the full HDIN Research report. Just head over to our website,